A scheme aimed at stopping people turning to violent extremism isn't working, according to the Home Secretary, Theresa May. The government says it now wants to review the scheme called the Prevent Strategy. Well, Douglas Murray is the director of the Centre for Social Cohesion, and he joins us now from our Oxford studio. I think you'd agree with her, wouldn't you? You wrote about this earlier this year. You said it was a textbook example of how to alienate absolutely everybody. Why is that?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the Prevent scheme has been a catastrophe, and an extremely expensive catastrophe. First of all, it's almost impossible to show any benefits that Britain has gained from the tens of millions, hundreds of millions of pounds that have been spent on it. Secondly, actually there's a significant amount of evidence to show it's actually harmed intercommunal relations in this country, not least by giving huge amounts of money to Muslim groups that have nothing to do with terrorism. For instance, there was an allocation to a Muslim Scouts group in Bristol to give them money for camping equipment. Well, you don't have to look too hard to find other groups in the country that are quite disgruntled about groups that are given that kind of money simply for being Muslim. So it really is a textbook example of how to alienate absolutely everybody, because apart from anything else, within the Muslim community, there's huge infighting about these very funds.
But isn't the thought behind, for example, money for boxing clubs, karate, scouts groups and everything else, is to actually provide activities for young Muslims to be engaged in and not to be perhaps lured away by more extremist elements?
One of the problems is, of course, is that it's not only young Muslims in this country who feel alienated. It's not only young Muslims in this country who don't have much to do in some communities. One of the problems about this is that it is, from its very outlook, deeply sectarian. I'd add another thing, which is that if this is about security, and the Prevent strategy was meant to have been from the start, then actually most of this work has already been done, is already being done by our security services, who I have to say have had an extraordinary string of successes in recent years in keeping Britain safe, and by our police, who likewise have had extraordinary work. Now, there's no point in having another strategy on top of that that seeks to effectively replicate that work, which cannot replicate that work, which ends up actually causing divisions within our society.
You also said that it helped create a sense of victimisation for young Muslims. I mean, how on earth do you measure something like that and reach a conclusion like that?
Well, for lots of reasons. Firstly, you can see, and there was a parliamentary review into the Prevent strategy just last year which revealed this, which is that Muslim groups are, of course, fighting over these funds. Everyone points to another group and says, they are extremists, we're not extremists, but we can help you battle those extremists. And effectively what it does is to suggest that the Muslim communities in this country are a problem, when in actual fact what we want to be doing is to make them realise that they just have to be treated the same as everyone else. And when people break the law, they will be punished for it. When they pose a security threat, they will be punished for that. But that there are no extra gifts you get in society simply for being young and Muslim.
Douglas Murray, we will leave it there, but thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
20 to 6.